We've been told the science on mRNA boosters is settled, but what if the real story is a bit more complicated? The FDA's own warning labels for mRNA vaccines mention that for young men, the risk of heart inflammation is highest after that second dose. Yet, these warnings are often treated like a footnote. Today, we're looking past the talking points and into the data. We'll explore the documented risks, the ongoing scientific debates about long-term immunity, and even the unintended proteins that scientists have recently discovered. This isn't about being for or against the technology. It's about understanding it, and that conversation is far from over. Let's start with what we know for sure: the link between mRNA vaccines and heart inflammation. This isn't a theory. It's a documented risk that prompted agencies like the FDA to update their warning labels. The two conditions are myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart muscle, and pericarditis, inflammation of the sac around the heart. While these cases are rare overall, the risk isn't spread evenly. The data clearly shows the highest risk is in a specific group: young men between 12 and 24. An analysis of health insurance claims for the 2023-2024 vaccine estimated about 27 cases of myocarditis or pericarditis for every million doses given to this group. Other studies found even higher risks, especially after the second primary dose. One major analysis in England, for instance, found a significantly higher risk for myocarditis in males under 40 within just a week of their second shot. Now, it's fair to point out that a COVID infection itself carries a real, and often much higher, risk of causing myocarditis. This is where the conversation gets tricky. For a healthy young person, deciding on a booster means weighing the vaccine's risk against their personal risk from a breakthrough infection, especially as the virus itself has changed. This is the core of the debate. A French study that followed patients for 18 months found that while myocarditis after the vaccine generally had better outcomes than after COVID, the long-term effects are still being watched. A US study found that around 5 months later, it was common for patients to still have abnormal findings on their cardiac MRIs, though what that means for their long-term health isn't yet known. This shows the science is still evolving as researchers work to understand the full picture. The story gets even more interesting when we look at what the vaccine actually tells our cells to do. The whole point of an mRNA vaccine is to give our cells a recipe to build the virus's spike protein, which then trains our immune system. But recent research published in the journal Nature found a surprising glitch in the process. It turns out that a key chemical tweak used in the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines to make the mRNA last longer can also cause our cellular machinery to slip while reading the genetic code. This is called ribosomal frame shifting. When this happens, the cell misreads the recipe and ends up creating unintended, off-target proteins that aren't the spike protein at all. This slip-up happens in about 8 to 10% of cases. More importantly, researchers discovered that these rogue proteins can also trigger an immune response. In one study, about 1/3 of vaccinated people showed a T-cell response aimed at these off-target proteins, a reaction not seen in people who got non-mRNA vaccines. Let's be clear. So far, there's no direct evidence these frame-shifted proteins are causing any harm, and the researchers behind the discovery have stressed this point. But it does open up new questions. Could these unexpected immune responses play a role in some of the rarer side effects? For future mRNA medicines, like those for cancer that might require bigger or more frequent doses, scientists say this could be a real hurdle. The good news is, they also think they can fix it by redesigning the genetic code in the future. This doesn't sink the technology, but it does show us a layer of complexity nobody knew about when the boosters first rolled out. Maybe the most complex debate is about the long-term effects of boosters on our immune system. This isn't about a sore arm, it's about how repeated shots might change the way our body responds to the virus down the road. The conversation revolves around a type of antibody called IgG4. Usually, your body produces powerhouse antibodies like IgG1 and IgG3 that are great at attacking and killing a virus. But several studies have now shown that getting multiple mRNA shots triggers a big shift, causing the body to produce a lot more IgG4 antibodies instead. This is pretty unusual and not something we typically see with other vaccines or natural infections. So, what is IgG4 and why should we care? IgG4 is usually known as a tolerance-inducing antibody. Sometimes that's good. In allergy therapy, it helps stop the immune system from overreacting. But for a virus, its role is a lot murkier. Some scientists think that by calming down inflammation, IgG4 might actually lead to less severe disease. On the other hand, some researchers worry IgG4 could be a double-edged sword. By teaching the immune system to tolerate the spike protein, it might also be telling it not to fight so hard, potentially leading to the virus sticking around longer. In fact, as far back as 2022, the European Medicines Agency warned that frequent booster shots could mess with the immune response. This IgG4 shift is the perfect example of science on the frontier. We have an observation, but we don't fully understand it, and there are smart people arguing both sides. It's a critical, open question. So, what's the real story on mRNA boosters? The story is that the science is constantly evolving. The public health message has often been simple, but the biological reality is anything but. We have a recognized risk of heart inflammation in young men, with long-term outcomes still being studied. We have the discovery of unintended proteins being made because of a frame shift in the genetic recipe, and we don't know the full impact yet. And we have a serious scientific debate about what repeatedly boosting does to our immune system in the long run, especially with this strange IgG4 antibody shift. Ignoring these debates means ignoring how science actually works. These aren't wild theories. They're questions being investigated by top scientists and published in major journals. True informed consent is only possible when we can see the whole picture, the knowns, the unknowns, and the questions scientists are still working hard to answer. If you think open scientific discussion is important and you appreciate this kind of deep dive, consider subscribing for more content that goes beyond the headlines. Now, I'll leave you with a question to think about in the comments. Given all the moving parts and an evolving understanding, why isn't there more public conversation about these complexities?